cannot do this for 45 minutes. We cannot sit here and do this around, and then I can't sleep till midnight. Oh, God. Turn the record on now. It's just like trying to get you out of a damn house.
I told you guys, he's the mean girl.
Oh,
You've got proof.
Wonderful.
You've got proof.
Wonderful.
He's the mean girl.
God, this is ridiculous.
That's all I need. Thank you, Jeff.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Podcast number 4.
Number 4, yes, on a Friday night in early September.
Early September.
Mm-hmm.
The 7th of September. To give people a point of reference, we have had the seller app Armageddon Apocalypse. What have we had the last couple days? I mean, it's been showing 0 sales for everybody, but if you go into the orders tab, it still shows you have orders, but dark times we've been living in.
Yeah, luckily it's fixed now, but I've got I was getting worried there for a second because it was going on 24 hours and I hadn't had an order, and so it was that was very rare. But coupled with that, I actually did have 2 pretty slow days, so that didn't really help me out.
Really? So your days were slow?
Yeah, very slow.
Mine weren't slow. They were. I'm trying to think. I think they were actually better than the days before.
Yeah.
They're about on par though. At minimum.
Yeah.
Well.
Better day today though. Having a better day today.
Yeah. Well, I've had a crap day, so thank you. Thanks for putting that energy out there. I haven't had a crap day. It's been an okay day. We're on set for our goals for this month. I guess we ought to jump into it. Unless you want to tell your story about your shipment last night, and we were supposed to record a podcast last night.
Yes.
Right?
I was in no mood to do so.
Yeah, you were kind of.
I was using Inventory Lab, and it's the main. I mean, it's probably the most popular program out there for FBA sellers. It kind of is a end all be all for accounting purposes regarding it. FBA, and it's essentially you list using Inventory Lab, and it can calculate your ROI and profit and all that good stuff. Really cool tool, but the problem is if you're sending in a particularly big shipment, you got to make sure that you keep your labels organized. I failed to do so. I had 3 items, and they were probably.
I'm only laughing because I've done the same exact thing. And I sealed all my boxes that time, and I never seal my boxes ever because of this.
Yeah. See, my problem is I do seal them every time. So
I bet you won't anymore. You probably will.
No promises. But so no, I had 3 items, and they all have similar descriptions. One of them is a rope ladder, one of them is a rope swing, and another one is like a rope net. And
can we get the ASINs on them?
No, you cannot.
Where'd you get them from?
That's a secret. So, I had all these items that were so similar, and I for some reason I mixed up the ladder with the net.
Oh.
And I did it for the entire effing shipment, and I probably had probably 20 of them.
How many were going to each warehouse?
I had that shipment. I had 5 different boxes. So, 5 different warehouses. So it was a big shipment. And so I realized I got to the last box. I'm feeling good. I'm like, man, I'm tearing through the shipment. And I got started early too, which is very rare. Usually I don't work till after 8 because of my daughter. That's her bedtime. And so, but yesterday I was like, okay, I got a podcast tonight. I got to get started early. And so I just I was just knocking it out like crazy, and then and I get to the last box, and I realize I have too many rope ladder stickers or labels, and not enough rope net labels, and I about had a heart attack. I was like, it's just that moment where you're just like, I have wasted so much time. And that's like the worst thing for me. Time wasting is the biggest pet peeve I have, just in general, at work,
Really?
anywhere. Oh,
So that's why you're so bitchy about getting the podcast started on time. On time.
there,
It's not like we have a
yeah,
schedule, but
I just have issues with, because what I do is I just look back on it and be like, God bless, I could have done so much more with that time. And so,
so you don't consider every time you do it learning? Like if there's a big setback, you don't just consider it learning? I just consider it learning. I
it's
don't
learning.
really I don't really harp on myself cuz it took me long. It
No, it's
just
learning. It's
yeah.
learning. I don't have to like it, but it's learning.
But it
So,
doesn't bother me really. Of
yeah.
course, your time is a lot more limited.
It bothers me. Yeah, and that's true. That's true. So I mean, I still have a full time job. So you've got a little bit extra time than I do. So it's like it's so critical. Like when I have my just like small window of time to do things, it's so critical that I'm as efficient as possible. Sometimes I'll catch myself. I'll like zone out. I'll be like watching The Office or something. Which that TV in here is probably not the greatest thing in the world, but I'll be sitting here and I'll just be kind of sitting back and I catch myself and it's just like, anyway, it pisses me off. So so back to the story, I realize I have to go through every single box because the SKUs were split up into all these different boxes. So yeah, I messaged you that time and I said it's not looking good for the podcast. I'm just I'm just to my wits end with this stuff. And so I had to reprint my labels. I had to open up every single box. I had to make sure that they were labeled correctly, and then eventually I got it figured out and did it. But it was just very time consuming, and that was the pain in the butt.
Yeah. It's it's frustrating. It's
Hmm.
really frustrating when it's 2 in the morning and you were literally going to put labels, shipping labels on, and you realize what one of my favorite things is a restriction. At the end, it seems like Inventory Lab doesn't tell you until you've gotten so much work into it. I can't remember what you have to do, but I think you have to go. It's easier now. I think with the later updates, they made it easier to where you could take off items. But before, if you had a restriction at the end, you almost had to do the shipment over. It seemed, But yeah, I can feel your frustration on that.
Yeah, you really have to. I mean, you really have to be.
I
You
mean,
have
you
to.
were being a real you were being a real bitch about it. I mean, you
I
were.
was not happy. I do that with expiration dates too. Sometimes I'll forget expiration dates,
Yeah.
and I'll get a little notification, and it's just like, God bless, man.
I was told, and I don't know if this is a good source or not, but by the customer service at Inventory Lab, I had a problem where I went to submit a batch and it just showed this whole paragraph full of errors, and I think one thing set off like the whole paragraph, so I fixed like one thing and they all went away. But I didn't know that, so I got in touch with Inventory Lab and they kind of walked me through it, and they told me that you don't have to reprint the labels with the expiration date on them, which I thought was kind of odd. They said you can just update it, and I guess it'll update what it sends to Amazon. So I mean, don't take my word for this, guys, but that's just what they told me, that you didn't have to go through and pull those all out and relabel them. But I don't know. It doesn't,
I'm ac- I'm actually thinking about taking a P-Touch label and putting it on my screen. Don't forget expiration date because I forget it way too many times, and it
yeah,
just and so and actually I'm probably gonna do that.
yeah. I've
And just
got
because
notes all over the place.
I need
There's,
it. I don't have anything behind my computers. I have stuff over here, but I don't have anything behind this computer. Um, and this is the main one that I use. So I need to. I'm gonna label this thing up later.
yeah. I don't see what that has anything to do with what's on your walls, but um,
You said you have stuff all over your walls. Just saying. Just saying.
I don't know why we're still friends. Anyway, so we're gonna get to some talking here. I don't know if everybody noticed my friend back here. That's a gremlin. It's actually a vintage gremlin doll we picked up at a garage sale. I don't really even want to tell you when. It was last year, and we're just now getting around to listing it. So, um,
That's a common problem. It's way more common than I thought.
yeah,
That like literally like I'll have things just literally sitting right next to me
we were talking about that the other day.
for months. Like for months.
Money,
And
money,
yeah,
money. Not
yeah.
like I bought it on a whim. Like you calculated, you know, carefully calculated that is going to be a good profit, and
Yep.
just let it sit there.
Yep. I had a Roku 2 that literally has just been sitting over by my photo taking area, just waiting to get its picture taken for like 2 weeks. I put it on and it sold overnight. It sold overnight, and it's just like God bless.
I had some bandsaw blades that I bought. Uh,
Ooh, that's good money there.
it is off an OA list, and what happened was I couldn't send them into Amazon, so I was restricted for the brand. So I've had them sitting in a box like behind my desk here for probably, I don't know. I bought them the first of August, and they've been sitting there, and I listed them today. And I thought I listed it yesterday, but it was still in my drafts when I was relisting today while I was waiting for Amanda to come out of the post office. And I saw it still sitting there, and I said, "Oh crap!" So I listed it, and I sold one of those when I got home.
It's crazy,
Yeah,
and it's you make excuses till the cows come home as to why you can't do it. It's
it's just because it's a pain in the ass.
you know
It's a
it
pain in
is
the ass to
it is,
list.
and I tell you, eBay, um, I feel like they're going through this new product based catalogs, which I mean they're copying Amazon. Let's be honest, to where every person every person that has this item in this UPC is going to be under one listing, and it's going to show the price range and all that good stuff.
I'd like to
Um,
do a little on-screen show with that. Is that out yet?
yeah, yeah,
Really? Okay.
yeah. It'll pop up every once in a while on my listings. Like, please make sure try to add to eBay catalog.
Oh, is that the thing that pops up at the very top of your listing window?
Hmm. Yeah,
Oh, okay, with the category and the. So
yeah,
that puts you on one listing, or?
yeah, yep. So it puts it with everybody else. Now, the interesting thing is that during eBay Open, they were talking about um, how the catalog's going to differ from other e-commerce platforms, where there are times where you don't, you're going to have this, say for instance, this item, right? And it's only going to be one listing, right? One UPC. There's only one of these. You can have like 5,000 sellers on this listing, and what buyers can do is buyers can actually put in an offer for everyone that's on that listing. They can say, hey, I want to pay $10 for this item. And let's say that every single person on that listing is selling this thing for $20. If there's one person out of the 500 that are on that listing, they can accept that offer if they want to. They can put that offer out there. And so it's kind of neat. It kind of gives everybody that opportunity, especially if you have some aged inventory that you're just trying to get rid of. It's kind of cool. It's cool for buyers and it's cool for sellers. So that was kind of interesting. I think that's coming here pretty soon.
So the buyer is the one that puts out that
Yeah, but
number.
yeah, it's just like best offer now. So best offer, they say, hey, you're selling this thing for 20. I want to offer 17. Well, instead
No,
of
no,
you
no,
putting
no. Let's recap. That's not what they say. What
the
what do they say? What are you selling it for?
$20,
And
so
what do they offer?
they offer much less.
Like 8.
So right, so the buyer says, okay, I want to pay $10 for this item, and then all 500 of those sellers that are on that listing can choose to accept that.
Man, it seems like there should be some logistical challenges on. I mean, what if a bunch of people accept it at the same time? Do you just like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
you
mean,
won?
I
Do you
don't
get
know.
like a little
It probably
notification?
it probably works just like these like the Nike app trying to get shoes that are crazy popular.
Yeah.
You have you know trillions of people trying to buy this one shoe at the same time. At some point, there's some back end software that puts people in line, and so it will show up just like any other sold item would in your my eBay page.
Hmm.
But it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. And there's also a way for you to bas- I don't want to we don't want to get too detailed, but there is a way for buyers to actually put out price advertisements without actually listing the item. Um, and so I won't go too deep into it because I'm not remembering the details, but it's essentially the same scenario except the buyers. You can say, hey, I want to put this. Everybody's selling this for $20. I'm going to put out a offer of $17, and buyers can see that offer of 17 and can choose to accept that. I'll get more details on that for the next
Yeah. Yeah.
next call. It's
That's
pretty neat.
interesting.
It's pretty neat, and they're really getting into um, uh, what's it called? AR? Was it called?
Yeah.
It's not
Augmented
yeah,
reality.
augmented. That's the word. They're getting into the augmented reality too, which and they showed us a demo of you could take. They showed rims, like you could take a
They showed what?
on your like a rims like wheels for your car,
They showed what?
wheels for your
Okay.
car,
Okay. That's what I
and
thought you said.
whatever.
Rims. Do you know what a rim is? No.
You know what? I think
I'm just kidding.
I've
I'm
got a
just kidding. I'm making fun of the magazine clip debate.
I've got a great. I have a really really good drinking game.
Go ahead.
Every time Aaron interrupts me,
Oh God,
you
people will be
take a
drunk
shot.
within the first 10
I'm telling
minutes.
you would be just plastered.
We should
So
call it the reseller collab with interruptions.
with pardon the reseller collab interruption, that would probably get us in trouble because there's a sports show called that. But anyways,
Call it the reseller collab.
where you can take the picture of the wheel and then go to your car, hold your phone up, and it'll put those wheels on your car, so you can kind of see what the accessory looks
In
like.
real time.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
Yep, just kind of like you use a Amazon phone to, take a picture of something and it'll find it in the catalog. You just take this and just put it up to your car, and it'll add these accessories to your car. It's really really cool.
Is it just wheels at this point, or is it
No, there's other
other
stuff. There's clothing. There's some other things. But
clothing? How would clothing work with AR?
you got me. I don't know. The only demo that they showed
You hold it
was,
up in a mirror.
hey,
That'd be
maybe
kind of cool, actually.
that would be neat. The only demo they had was the wheels.
Okay. All right, that's cool. Well, we're going to cover topics in this podcast that beginners, intermediates, and one day when we are professionals, like 15 years in the future, we will feature tips that professionals would use as well. But I'd say a tip from going from kind of a novice to an intermediate would be doing something like getting your business license in your state, or getting your resale certificate, your tax exempt certificate. It's called different things in different states, but it just allows you to go to a store or to an establishment and not pay sales tax on anything that you are reselling. Now, I have heard people say that you can use it for your personal stuff. Don't do that. Don't listen to those people. Do not use this resale certificate, this tax exempt status, for your personal stuff. You will make.
So somebody suggested that they could use this for their personal items. That is a one-way ticket to some trouble.
It's 100% illegal. It's literally what you like. It was funny because it's literally the exact opposite of what you should do. But so anyway, you can go to your. I believe, I want to say mine is Louisiana State, and then it also has an endorsement for the city slash parish. We have parishes instead of counties here, so it also has an endorsement for the city slash parish, and basically it's just a sheet of paper that says you are in business and you are in retail sales or you resell stuff, which means that you shouldn't get charged tax when you buy it. Because essentially, if you get charged tax and then you charge your end customer tax, that's double taxation, and that's it's redundant. So you should only have to pay tax once. Now, let me tell you that some retailers, brick and mortar retailers, are not going to accept this, and that's okay. That's their right. You're really not going to change their mind, so you might as well just move on and buy from somewhere else that or just pay tax on it, or buy somewhere else that does accept it. But I think you'll find a lot of cashiers and stuff are probably not even going to know what they're looking at.
That's very common. That's extremely common. And so, just to give you an example, this is a Texas resale tax certificate.
Well, I hope I get good enough to blur some information out.
Uh,
Otherwise, people have your information there.
this is if you look at the top there, it says this must be displayed prominently in your business.
Oh
So
yeah,
this
I guess I should
this
know that.
yeah, this is all public record, so I don't
Yeah.
mind. I don't mind sharing it. Um, but yeah, you're gonna run into a lot of people that are like, "What's that?" So it's not uncommon.
Yeah, and a worker at a store like a cashier or something, they're not gonna go out of their way to get in trouble for accepting it when they could just easily say, "No, I don't know anything about that. I can't accept that." They're gonna err on the side of caution for their own job. So uh, anyway, to be a professional, to get up to the next level, you're gonna need a resale certificate, and pretty much this brings me to my next point, which is opening wholesale accounts. If you try to open any type of wholesale account or any type of vendor account, they're going to most likely want your resale certificate. Actually, I don't think I've applied to one yet that has not wanted it or required it.
Yeah, for sure. They're all gonna want it because it allows them to offer you this stuff tax free. So they keep all that stuff on file. So when they actually if they get audited for by the state, they can provide they have your tax certificate on file, and so that they can make sure that everything's on the up and up.
I think it also too lends itself to a little bit of legitimacy on who they're doing business with. You know, that you have gone through the channels to get your resale certificate and everything like that. That they know, if they set you up on a 30-day account, there's better chance than just some guy that really, just has an eBay store and, does this as a hobby. Well, he may not, you know, be the best customer for us. He may not pay his bills or whatever. Not saying that's the case, but, it just looks more legitimate when you have the right proper documentation.
Yeah, and it's also a way for them to, not have actual consumers, try just getting discounted deals.
Good
Um,
point. Good
one
point.
of one of the one of the big things is that, you know, um, with your resale certificate, um, is having the ability to get all your goods tax free. So I mean, it's really the first thing you need to do if you're considering any type of resale, is get that resale certificate first. If I mean, there are places that won't accept them, but every single Goodwill that in my area accepts them. Since a lot of the other retailers that I go to accept them, Walmart, Target, no, Best Buy, yes.
Yeah,
uh,
Target. Yeah.
Target, yeah, Target
You
hates you
said
if you're
Walmart
reselling.
won't do that for you.
Yeah, yeah. So, and actually, Best Buy will actually set you up with they'll give you like a tax exempt card
So will
that you.
Walmart.
Oh, really? I see.
Yep.
I didn't get
You
that
have to
far
go
into
and talk to their like accountant on staff or whoever, and they give
it.
you a form. I still have the form. I still haven't filled it out. I
That's
I
just
just
being
need to do
lazy.
it. It's just like having product in your sitting there that's not listed.
Yep, yep. So yeah, and one of the other things that you really need to do is to get your professional email. Um, there's a I have seen it on some applications that they won't accept a Gmail account. It just lends to that legitimacy factor and having, it looks like you have a legit business, and you're not just some, you know, just a consumer trying to get a deal.
Yeah. Uh, that's a good point. I mean, it's it's these little things that show you that the person means business. If you've ever managed anybody or hired anybody, interviewed, somebody for a job, you look for little things. Like you said, God, just an inappropriate email name that somebody didn't take 5 minutes to create, a new one, or it's just there's little things that kind of tip you off to maybe how
Um,
how an employee they'll be, what kind of employee they'll be. I know over the years you've hired, many people. What do you have uh, any email addresses that you've seen over the years that you just went, really?
I've
Did you?
seen a lot with 69 in it. I've seen a lot of that, and it's like, all right, are you still in high school? And some of them are,
Yeah.
but it's just like, geez, if you're trying to get a job, I'd much rather you just say you don't have an email. But I've probably had plenty that I can't remember. I think my favorite ones are when people actually give an honest reason why they got fired from their last job on their application.
Like a
That's
bad reason.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like, there's so many, and I've told you a lot of them. Um, but just saying, yeah, I got fired because I didn't like dealing with customers. I'm like, I appreciate the honesty, but
Yeah.
even that kind of honesty is not gonna get you a job. So
It's not gonna get you a job, but it avoided some hassle for you.
that's true. That's true. So
Do you
yeah,
tell them
it's
in
it's
those
pretty funny.
situations? I guess it's
It all depends. It
yeah,
all
yeah,
depends. But there's been some pretty funny stuff.
yeah. Oh, the world of retail, man.
It's
How
crazy.
long you been in retail?
Oh boy, 14 years.
Oh,
Yeah, 14
wow.
damn years.
That's a long time.
It is a long time. It works for some people. It works for me. I can't sit still. Probably you can see by the rocking. Is I really don't sit still very well.
Yeah.
Well, and so I was in college. I was going for a computer science degree, and just school just didn't what. It's just sitting still and just didn't work for me. And I could never sit at a computer and code all day. I just couldn't do it. So it fits some people, but some people just do not belong.
Yeah. I think I think management fits you well. A lot of people get stressed out. I got pretty stressed out, and I didn't even manage but just a couple people, and you manage dozens of people every day. So and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't. And you always seem pretty cool. I've never really seen you lose your head, but I guess I'm not around all the time, but I wouldn't think you do.
I mean, I'm telling you, the difference is it's just what fits you. It's to, and like I said, it fits me. I do, yeah, I'm pretty successful at it. And, so, I don't know. Some people it's just definitely not there. And you can tell there's a lot of folks, and even when you're out sourcing and doing all that other stuff, you're gonna see people that are just like, ugh, like they look like they just do not, like their job, and that's just because they're not in the right position for them yet. So
Or they have bad leadership.
that's true. That's true. It's usually one. It's definitely one of the two.
Sometimes
So
I think it's a lot of a combination.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, but even with great leadership, there's people that it's just not for them. They be much better in kind of an office setting, or maybe a slower pace, or just different. Just a different environment.
Yeah.
Retail is a crazy environment, and I know a lot of resellers or former retail employees, and pretty much all of them are,
Is that
except for
true? Did you just make that?
No.
statistic up
I mean, from what I've seen,
for our podcast?
I said a lot of resellers. I didn't say all of them or most, um, but you know, I've noticed that there's been quite a few. So
Yeah.
uh, it's a it's a crazy world. It's definitely a
Well,
crazy world.
retail really does seem to add to you, a skill set that you can use when reselling because you know the game. You know what you're up against. You know what you have to do. You get a good product out to somebody at a good price. And you provide the best customer service you can.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
not a lot of people believe in the customer service aspect, but I think that lends itself back to what you were saying. People in the wrong position and people with the wrong leadership. But I want to talk about something that I've noticed, and I'm going to call it the 1 year phenomenon. Um, Literally nobody's calling it that. But what I've realized over the past year or so of working for myself, actually October, so not quite a year, 11 months. In October last year, I quit my full time job and I started reselling uh, full time. And for like the last 8, 9, 10 months, I've just been kind of just running here, running there, running here, running there with no real set schedule and no real consistency, if you will, in my day to day activities. I was basically a firefighter, just putting out fires everywhere. Wherever a fire would pop up, I'd have to put it out. Whether that be emails or whether that be, somebody wanting to return something on eBay or whatever. Well, at about the 1 year mark, or at about you know right now or about a month ago, everything kind of seemed to finally start to fall into place. And I started to, really get my routine down, getting up at a certain time and, having that first thing on my list that I do every morning. And then having, the next thing for the day and the next thing and the next thing written out, so I kind of have a schedule. I have something to, you know, a habit to perform, if you will, which you would have at a regular job anywhere. You're going to follow a habit every day. Most people aren't going to be doing random stuff all day long at a job. So I don't know. I just want to put that out there that if you have started reselling full time and everything kind of feels a little weird and random, it will be for a while, and you won't get that sense of kind of calm for quite a while. So just keep up the consistency, and eventually it will start to fall into place, and you'll start to build some habits.
Yeah, that's really really true. Like it's going to be weird for a while. I mean, it still is weird, um, and I think it probably won't. I mean, it's probably going to be a good bit till it's actually. Um, I don't know about I haven't experienced the working from home, and that's like a whole different ball game. Like I have a full time job that I go to that guaranteed paycheck every 2 weeks. So not having that, I could see how that would be very hard to get to like.
Yeah, because you almost, and it's weird because in my previous job, I did things that lend themselves to the reselling game, and at that job, I had been there so long, and I've just created so many habits and stuff that going to work every day was just a routine. And once I started doing it for myself, I didn't have a routine built up, so it was just kind of, it was weird. It was, some days, you look back on the day and you go, man, I didn't get anything accomplished of any note. And
And I think you too with your situation. Like I think your original plan was to probably stay on for another few months, like
yeah.
but it turned out to be to where it was the right time, and so that probably added even more stress to the situation. Where you're like, okay, boom, done. I'm doing this right now.
Yeah, I didn't really have a mental prepare, a time to prepare for it mentally, like, okay, within the next 3 months, I'm going to start winding things down and, get my day to day stuff on there, you know, like it should be I went from, hey, I'm thinking about quitting to about, God, I think I had about a month because I put in my 2 weeks and they were like, well, hey, just try to stay on and we'll see what we can do. And I found out that they were not trying to keep me on. So I just went ahead and left uh, when I originally told them I would leave. And yeah, so it was way sooner than I wanted to, but it's just how it happened.
But
So other people it might not be the same.
but I think that's one of those things where you're probably not ever gonna be 100% ready.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I don't think you'll ever be ready. I don't think you'll ever be ready to quit your job. And if you wait till you're ready, you'll be dead.
Mm-hmm.
You will look back and you'll be 65, and you'll be retiring and you'll go, holy crap, I could have been home with my family that whole time, or I could have been, doing whatever that
Yeah.
whole time,
Yeah.
but I didn't because I was scared. I was scared of, that we might go bankrupt, that we might lose our house, that whatever. Sometimes you just got to say, fuck it and, and do it.
Yeah, and I think that one of the big things is that there's always a backup. Well, I wouldn't say a backup plan, but there's always you can always fall back on what you've been doing. And then I think a lot of people don't realize that is you can just go back to work if it doesn't work the first time. It's not that
Do
big
you
of a
think
deal.
most people think like that though? I think what drives the fear is that you can't just jump back in the workforce.
I think, and depending on how the job market is, it could probably be scarier at certain times. But right now,
I just mean on the perception level of somebody that's wanting to quit but they're scared. Not the reality of the situation.
well, one of the things that, like with Jessica quitting her job, I was like, okay, well, we're not going to be able to do, a lot of the things we normally do, um, and so we've had to cut back on some things, and I've always, I always keep telling myself like, she can just go back to work. Like if it doesn't work, she can just go back to work. It's and I think that I mean I feel like I lose sight of that a lot of times. I lose sight of the fact that it's like, oh man, we
How
haven't.
so? Like you're stressing a little bit.
Well, it's more of like, okay, um, we have like our dogs. Like one of our dogs has to have, um, a mouth, some extractions from her teeth, and it's going to cost like $400 to $700, and so
An
those.
unplanned expense.
Yeah, yeah. And so, you have this unplanned expense and you're just like, okay, that kind of puts us back a little bit from what we're supposed to be doing. And then it's like, you start to think it's like, okay, well, I've got you kind of have to plan out, especially when you don't have guaranteed paychecks, you have to plan very far in the future of what you need at what point, in
Yeah.
order. And I think during that planning, I lose sight of the fact that if the plan doesn't go accordingly, it's not it's not a death sentence, right? It doesn't
When
mean
you say you lose sight of it, what happens?
it's just I just don't think it's just I lose sight of the fact that that's a possibility.
It
And so
worries you.
I'm thinking of, okay, we need to hit this amount of sales. If we don't hit this amount of sales, we're going to fall short of our goal. We fall short of our goal. We push a bill back. We push too many bills back. It starts to
Yeah.
steamroll, and then it's like, okay. And so, I always have to say, okay, well, no, it's cool. We've she can always go back to work. And so, but sometimes I do lose sight of that. And I think, a lot of people, I feel, this is my opinion, I feel like a lot of people that are waiting to take that step are just worried that that don't realize that there's a backup plan. Even if you don't think you have a backup plan, there's always a backup. You can always go back to what you were doing, maybe not at the same company, but, like you, for instance, you could work at
Yeah, yeah. I
many
mean, there'd be
places.
for sure there'd be jobs out there that I could get, and probably jobs that paid way more than the job I was, doing at the time. But, um, let's not discount the fact that things can go horribly wrong. Things can go horribly wrong, and you can have things come up financially. A person gets sick or whatever, and put you in the hole, and you can go bankrupt. That's the risk that we take. We're not. I don't think either one of us are trying to convince anybody that there's no risks when you quit your job. You quit your guaranteed income to go do this. But I really think that should just be fire. That should stoke your fire. That you don't. 'Cause so sometimes I kind of think of it as, yeah, this is do or die, and sometimes that puts a fire under me. So there's kind of the other side of it. Yes, way, way, way back in the back of my head, I do know, that I could go get a job, but things could get really upside down before that happens.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you could get yourself in a lot of debt. You could find yourself with a bunch of bad buys, that you spend a whole bunch of money on, whatever. I mean, it could go south.
Yeah. Yep. You're right.
So, let's see what's next. Seasonal products. I know you wanted to talk a little bit about when to buy, seasonal items.
This one can be kind of difficult for people that are starting out, especially if you don't have a lot of capital at first, because a lot of this is kind of buying for the future. And everybody sees it. Every retailer you go to, like I went to Lowe's today, and every single patio item they had was like 75% off.
Because we're going into the fall and the colder season, so they
Yeah.
have to move it to move in more relevant items, right?
Yeah, and so they're getting, they're getting their Halloween merchandise in, so they've got to make room for that. And then after Halloween, it's huge into cooking, so grilling, frying, all that good stuff. And then of course the holidays go crazy. So, you know, being aware of the seasons and when those changes happen, it could really net you some good profit. But the problem is sometimes you may have to wait on it. But there are
And
some,
store it somewhere.
yeah, but sometimes you don't have to wait on it. Like for instance, in Texas, it's still hot as hell. It's like 93 degrees today, and so people are still buying that stuff now. But
When you say that stuff, like inflatables for the pool and stuff
no,
like
like
that,
patio,
or
no, like
patio furniture.
right. So the patio example,
Florida too, South Florida.
the South.
I mean, you're not South Florida. You could pretty much sell, pool inflatables and patio furniture and outdoor stuff almost all year.
Yeah, yeah, you really could. You really could. And I mean, even in Texas, like it only gets hot, cold here.
Nobody
Like,
wants to hear about Texas all the time, Jeff. Good Lord, man. Get over it. We know you're like the biggest state.
well, yeah,
I think you're the biggest state, right?
no,
Alaska's bigger.
that's that Louisiana education. That's pretty funny. So,
Jeff, can you go ahead and tell our viewers and listeners where you went to school?
that's a secret.
Where did you go to school, Jeff?
The same school you did.
Okay. What state was that located in?
I think I was paying attention
It was
during
in
geography.
Louisiana. Okay.
I think I was paying attention during geography class, though.
Well, okay.
So yes, the second biggest state, but no, it's still hot in the South. So some of that stuff still works. Christmas is a little bit different. So a lot of people hit up clearance sales after Christmas. Christmas ends abruptly. The day after Christmas, people are done buying for Christmas. And when it comes to, decorations and anything Christmas, it's over. It's over. So that stuff that you pick up on that last week of the year, you really definitely have to hold on to. But,
yeah, that week from Christmas until New Year's.
But you can make money. I think
Deep discounts on holiday stuff.
I think you made some money on some food. Was it candy or something?
Yeah, that's another thing that people don't think about, especially newbies. They're caught up. At least I was caught up in the running around and just Q4 is crazy. If you haven't experienced a Q4, it is crazy. Like you don't know sales. You don't know sales yet until a hot Christmas item. But yeah, even buying stuff like seasonal items, like you said, grocery items that people can't get any other time of the year. They grocery items, people want to eat that shit even though it's not Christmas anymore. You
Yep.
can only get it one time a year.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. And that's just like
Eat it
there's
till it expires.
those Christmas well, I mean, for me, candy canes. I can only get candy canes one time a year, and I love the shit out of
I
candy.
love candy canes. I do.
Um, but I like just like straight candy cane. I don't like
Yeah.
all the crazy stuff.
Yeah, same here.
But even like the Christmas cookie tins, there's like ginger snaps and stuff that you can only get during that time. It's but yeah, so the seasonality of products, and you also have to think that you're not buying just for people in your region. So something that you're like, God, why would anybody want to buy that? Well, people up north might need it,
Yeah.
and when you're talking about um I don't know, I mean, ice auger or something, something crazy, something that you would never use in the South. There's still plenty of people
Yeah.
that would need it up north.
And if you catch a store between here and somewhere up north, you may catch one on sale or on clearance,
Yep.
you know. Um what would your advice be on seasonal items as far as how far out to buy? Like would you is that all dependent on your storage area and your cash flow situation? Like how I guess a better question would be how do you know what's going to be hot the next season?
You don't. But you can
There
look at.
are tools. You can use Keepa
I
though.
was about to say, yeah, you can use Keepa, and if it has a rank over a year, you can definitely see when that item gets hot and when it doesn't.
Yeah.
One of the things I was can't remember what the item was that I was looking at the other day, but it has a significant decrease in sales when you get into November, December, which is odd because usually that's when stuff gets crazy, and so that's something that I would I wouldn't buy for the holidays, but I would buy
Yeah.
for the following year. I'm just gonna have to sit on it, so it really does depend on your cash flow and how much space, if you're working out of your house like we are, how much space you're
Yeah.
willing to sacrifice.
Yeah. Um, and how much of a deep discount? They say that you what do they say? You make the money when you buy. So you whatever you buy that at, whatever you at least this is how I take it. Whatever you're going to be able to sell it for, that margin between there, that's your profit. You make that when you buy. So if you buy it at a low price, and that item holds up in value, then you're just holding on to money.
Yeah, and a lot of times on these items, there's no risk of losing money because the discount is so steep, and so if you can afford it, do it. Because like I said, there's not a whole lot of risk that you're going to be out your money.
Yeah, we're talking some of this stuff like after Christmas, 90% off.
Yeah, yeah,
Now, you you think that reselling competition is bad before the holidays? You go into somewhere on a December 26th and see if you find some stuff after noon.
yeah,
After noon at a retail store. See if you can find some good deals still.
yeah.
They'll be
There's
gone.
there's
People
people out
snatch them
there
up.
for
And
sure.
it's not just me and you. It's consumers too.
Oh yeah, my
Consumers
mom.
know.
My mom buys wrapping paper.
Why would you not? Why would you not buy Christmas lights and decorations and all that stuff? The same stuff we'd be buying to resell, but you know,
Yeah, my
why
mom.
not?
My mom every single year. My mom just loads up on dollar Christmas paper, 25-cent Christmas paper. So yeah, if you need any, we got you. So
Okay, yeah, I'll take you up on that. I want about
we have plenty. Trust
15
me.
cases.
Um, so yeah, seasonality that's big, and you'll kind of get the hang of it once you go through a full year of reselling. You'll kind of get an idea of when the stores start changing that stuff over.
Yeah.
Uh,
Why don't you tell us about the importance of organizing your OA receipts? OA being online arbitrage.
so okay, so first of all, it's important to organize your receipts, but I'll tell you why. And I found this out the hard way. I had ordered a whole bunch of OA stuff, probably uh, 4,000, $4,000 to $5,000 worth of OA stuff. And I ordered some from Walgreens, Target, Walmart, and some other sites. And for Walgreens, I ordered some chocolates. I ordered some Depends underwear, some body spray, and some lotion. And so, what I ordered all that stuff in the period of 2 days. So all these shipments were coming in at the same time. And so I have a folder over here that I kind of keep for all my incoming orders. I can kind of show you incoming orders. And so, and it's kind of full right now, but so what I normally do and what I thought I was going to have planned was when I place the order online, I print out the shipment, I put it in incoming orders. When it comes in, I check it off, I put it in and I file it behind me for my receipts. That was going all well and good until probably about 3 or 4 days ago, which was probably 3 weeks after I ordered all this stuff. I picked up my Walgreens uh, invoice, and I realized that I only got half of my order. And my invoice was laying on the kitchen counter, and so I didn't follow my own rules of putting it where it belongs. And so I'm looking on it, I'm like, oh my god, like I didn't even get half my order. And it was like, retail, or what I paid for it, was probably about $500. So if I hadn't have seen that invoice, I probably would have lost about 500 freaking dollars. And what it was is that for some reason, they scanned all the items into one box, but they only put half. So the Depends underwear and the chocolates never got in the box. And so I called Walgreens and I said, hey, what's going on? And they got me hooked up with a specialist, and they're like, yeah, it said everything came in one box. And I said, well, look, if you know what Depends underwear is packaged like, those packages are not very small. And I ordered 20 of them. And I said, so think about 36 of this, 36 of this, 36 of this, and 20 of this, all fitting in one box. And she's like, yeah, that's pretty unlikely. I said, yeah, and they were extremely helpful. Walgreens was like soup. They didn't question anything. And they said, okay, well, we only have this many in inventory right now. We can ship this out and refund you the rest. And I said, okay. So they shipped it. I actually got it today. But yeah, so God, I kick myself because I'm like, what if I hadn't have
Do you want me
found.
to tell you what we do?
What do you do?
Okay, so we have something similar to that incoming folder. What I did was I set up a stacker out in my hallway there, and that's where we receive our stuff in. So anytime a box comes in, we put it there in the hallway, and all my invoices. So when I buy something, I will print it out like you do, and then I will take it straight in there and put it on the stacker. And if it's in that stacker, that means that it hasn't come in yet.
When you say a stacker, what are you talking about?
Just a document stacker. I'll show you one. Just this. This is what we always refer to as a stacker. So I don't know if you can hear me or not, but
Yeah.
So we have one of those out in the hallway, and so I put all my invoices there, and then when something comes in, if there's a back order on it, she'll write BO or B/O, however many back ordered or however many were received, and she'll tell me, hey, we didn't get such and such amount. Like the other day, we ordered some lotion, and there was one bottle missing out of, I think there was 49 that came in the one box, and there was one missing. There was a hole in the box, but had she not counted, had she not marked it off, we wouldn't have known. So after that gets done, we put the invoice. We don't put it back in a filing cabinet. We put it with the item. So when that item when I go to list it, in Inventory Lab or on Amazon, I just pull that invoice out. I look and see what it costs me and everything, put all that information in, and print out my FNSKU labels, and then I put that invoice in my filing cabinet, so it's filed away for that month's expenses. And it kind of it kind of eliminates not knowing when something is owed to you, but you've got so many items coming in that stuff gets lost in the weeds. So it's
Hmm.
kind of a redundancy system.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. That makes sense. Um,
But you don't have to use this system, and I know you won't because it's not your idea. And most of the time you
no,
don't listen anyway.
no, won't do that.
Yeah. So you can go ahead and keep losing your stuff.
Yeah. So,
So what did you enact to make sure that didn't happen again?
well, it's kind of, I just got better at not wasting time when it come when I get my stuff in, is immediately checking it as opposed to waiting. Because
Yep.
if you set the box in your office and you wait a couple days, a lot of stuff can happen in a couple days.
Well,
Um,
too, some retailers won't. It's very rare that a big chain retailer won't, but some retailers, if you don't check your stuff within the first 3 to 5 days, they don't care. If
well,
it's wrong, that's on you because you
that's what
didn't
was
check it yet.
surprising. This was like 3 weeks old. I was
Yeah,
like, man, I don't know if they're gonna buy this. Like saying I didn't receive half my order 2 weeks later or
yeah.
3 weeks later.
They're like, who would not check it by now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm missing like 50 items, but no, they didn't even. There wasn't even any hesitation.
I mean, there was a paper trail. Really, at the end of the day, they had a lot of inventory at a warehouse that they could have tracked down, but
But it's important because I mean, I get boxes all the time that are just busted up. I mean,
mhm.
the people that packed them didn't pack them well. They're crushed. Some of them have. I mean, I showed you. I bought some cream, and one box came in, and there's just cream everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was just awful. And so that's a funny story because I took I took the items out of the six that was in the box. Four of them were busted and covered with this stuff. Um, and so I took it back to where I bought it, and they actually gave me a hard time. It was actually Target. They gave me a hard time about it, and I don't know if it.
Like you did that on purpose?
Yeah, like, and it was like because it was like an online order or something like that, and it was just, and um, uh, two of them were good, and so I kept those at home, and I just brought in the four that were screwed up, and she's like, "Well, I need all six here to give you a refund," and I'm like, "I don't,
Refund me on the 4 or give
I,
me the new ones.
why would I bring you the two that I want to keep? Like, just give me my money back and we'll be good." And so,
I
whatever.
ran into that the other day with the same retailer, matter of fact.
Yeah,
Yep, they
Target.
didn't they wouldn't God, what was it? They wouldn't they wanted me to return stuff. I was like, I don't want to return it. That's why I ordered it in the first place.
Yeah.
And they were wanting me to order it, and it was there was a discount or a coupon that I used with it. And I was like, this is not going to work if I only order like the 3 replacements that you didn't send. They were wanting me to return the whole order because they didn't put 3 items in the box.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
Let me tell you, if you listen to our last episode, we talked about how to manipulate or improve your eBay search listings. And if you type in LOL Biggie Pets, I have the number one listing that shows up.
Do you?
Even though I am not the lowest price, but I have the highest listing position. So if you're interested in that, listen to episode 3.
Depending on when this comes out, somebody's going to figure out who you are.
That's true. That's true. Um, but yeah, check it out. LOL Biggie Pets.
You think you're a badass now, huh?
Well, I mean, when you say
It
something
is what it is, huh?
and you can prove it out, you can just kind of puff your chest up a little bit and feel like a little bit of a badass.
Well, okay.
So yeah.
I guess that wraps up this episode number 4. I don't know. Next time I know we're gonna talk about. I don't know what we're gonna talk about, to be honest.
We can talk about maybe we can run through Inventory Lab, kind of give an overview of that. Maybe do a little bit more in depth with Keepa. I know we did some Keepa stuff. I think episode 2. I think it was.
Sounds right.
And then you could probably Maybe go through Ebates and some Chrome extensions. Chrome extensions. Trust me, I, you had told me about Ebates 5,000 times, and I just was like, I don't order enough. I don't order enough. Yeah, if you don't have Ebates, get Ebates.
You're leaving money on the table for no
You
reason.
you really, and it costs you nothing.
Like it doesn't even like it's not one of those things like, oh, it's costing you something somewhere. No,
Mm-mm.
no, it's these companies are pairing up with Ebates. At least is how I understand it works. So they're pairing up with them, and it's basically marketing. It's basically just driving the traffic to their sites. So I mean, take advantage of it.
Yeah, and let me tell you, for sports fans out there, I didn't know what I think it's called Rakuten.
Yeah,
The company.
Rakuten.
I think it's TA. It might be TEN. Anyways,
I'm never wrong.
I the first time I ever heard of this company was it was on the Golden State Warriors jersey, and it said Rakuten on it, and I'm like, what the heck is that? Like I have no clue what that company is, but they obviously have the prominence to where they're sponsoring the best basketball team. Yeah, Ebates is a Rakuten company, so I was like, oh, that makes sense. I didn't even think about that. And they have their own site and everything else.
I thought Rakuten was owned by, I don't know why I thought they were owned by Amazon, but
They're kind of like an Amazon.
are they?
Yeah, yeah. And so maybe we'll look at that and maybe we can go over some uh we'll go over like jet.com too.
Okay.
But good episode.